Let the Democrats get up there and make their argument about why we have to continue chemically castrating children. That's not an argument they want to make.
Joining me on the line is my friend Matt Walsh. Of course, you know him from his extraordinarily popular and successful documentaries, Am I Racist? And What is a Woman? He also has been perhaps America's leader in the fight against the radical trans agenda, particularly the attempts to surgically and hormonally mutilate children. Today, of course, the Supreme Court came down with a 6-3 ruling in United States versus Skrmetti that said a Tennessee law, as pushed by Matt, that bars all of these pseudo healthcare providers from providing this sort of mutilation of children, was upheld by the Supreme Court. Matt, first of all, happy birthday. Second of all, congratulations. It's a pretty good birthday gift from the Supreme Court.
Yeah, most people know I'm skeptical of birthdays. I'm not big on birthdays, so I feel like a hypocrite saying this, but it does feel like a wonderful birthday present. More importantly, of course, it's a great gift and win for all the kids in this state and states across the country that will now be protected from this kind of butchery. I think all the way back to, I guess, 3 years ago now, when we launched our investigation into the child butchery practices of Vanderbilt and followed that up with the big rally in the state capitol, and then our lawmakers in the state followed that with their law banning the practices, and dozens of other states have followed suit since then. There were a couple of states that already had laws like this on the books before us. And it's kind of funny because for the last couple of years, I've been hearing from trans activists who don't want to acknowledge. Well, they don't want to acknowledge. There are many realities they don't want to acknowledge, and they certainly don't want to acknowledge what time it is right now and what the scorecard is. And so they've been very confident that well, it's not going to survive the courts. So you guys have fun with all your little laws, but the courts will save us, because of course left-wing activists have grown accustomed to that the courts always do save them. But that wasn't the case this time. And because it's look, you don't have to be conservative to get this one right. And the Supreme Court, their decision was not that, it was not a decision saying that, we have to ban these practices across the country. Although I think that decision would have been perfectly justified, because it does violate the human rights of children to do this. But the decision was just, of course, states have the right to regulate these, to make laws dealing with these kinds of practices. And so that means that, of course, not just Tennessee, but these dozens of other states that have these laws, it will be upheld for them. And that also means that after we're done popping the champagne and celebrating the victory, which we should do, it's a good thing to celebrate victories. But as soon as we're done doing that, have one glass of champagne, put it down, and then let's get to work on the next step, which is banning it federally, banning it nationwide.
And Matt, I'm not sure how much time you had to actually read the decision. It's a fairly long decision. If you include all of the concurrences and the dissents, it's something like 118 pages. But the chief, his opinion avoids, as usual, Chief Justice Roberts avoids one of the bottom line questions here by trying to find a way around it, which is whether, in fact, transgender status is classified by the law or whether it's not classified by the law. He makes the claim that the law doesn't actually classify on the basis of transgender status, so he no longer has to make a decision as to whether the Equal Protection Clause somehow treats transgender as a class. In a concurrence, Justices Barrett and Thomas both say that this is not a protected class. There is no such thing as a class of transgenders, because that is a mutable class. It is not an immutable characteristic. People can be trans one day and not trans the next. It's a shifting, moving definition, a case that you've made really persuasively. Obviously, I think the concurrence is right. I think there are a lot of people on the right who have been disappointed so far with Justice Amy Coney Barrett. They've been characterizing her as a liberal. That is not the way courts work typically. There are certain justices who move to the left and stay to the left, Justice Souter being one. But it's actually fairly rare, especially Trump appointees, even the ones you disagree with some of the time, you end up agreeing with 85% of the time. This kind of labeling of Justice Amy Coney Barrett as a wild leftist, it's hard to say that after you read the concurrence with Justice Thomas, the most consistently conservative member of the Supreme Court.
Yeah, I think, look, I obviously I don't agree with every decision that she's made or the Supreme Court has made, but I will say that, it says something about this Supreme Court that I was never worried about what the decision would be in this case. The idea that they would find that Tennessee doesn't have the right to pass this kind of law was just, I found to be. I wasn't worried about. I'm worried about a lot of things, and I'm pretty pessimistic, as I know you could be as well. But on this one, I was pretty confident, very confident, in fact, the entire time, which I think should tell you something.
So, Matt, you've mentioned the possibility of other states doing this. And then there's another possibility, which is Republicans do control the Congress. They do control the Congress of the United States. And so while it would have to presumably overcome a filibuster, it seems absolutely worthwhile to me to have Republicans push this in the House and Senate. Force people on record defending child mutilation tactics. If you're a Democrat and you want to filibuster that, man, go ahead. Try that. See how that works out for you electorally.
Exactly. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene has a bill on this right now, and protecting kids from these procedures. It's an absolute win. This is you talk about an 80-20 issue. This is probably a 95-5 issue, if not more than that, because when you look at the polls, it's you have to take into account what people are telling the polls, but then there's a small minority of people who will say to the pollster that, yes, I'm in favor of castrating children. But even a lot of the people that will say that, they're only saying that because they think that they have to say it. How many people actually think it's a good idea to chemically castrate a child? I think that number is very, 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 very small. So it's a winning issue. It's the right thing to do, and it's a political winner. And anytime you have those two things lining up, the right thing and a political winner, there's absolutely no reason to do it. But it's a small window of time that we have. We have right now, when we have Congress and we have the White House, and you have to take advantage of it. You have to do it. And as you say, let the Democrats get up there and make their argument about why we have to continue chemically castrating children. Let them do it. Let me tell you right now, that's not an argument they want to make. This is not a fight they want to have. This is not a discussion they want to have. They're absolutely terrified of it. So they are hoping that Republicans, just for whatever reason, back off and take the Supreme Court victory as as the end of the conversation and move on. They're hoping Republicans do that. The last thing they want is to actually have to stand up there and argue in favor of this butchery. They don't want to have to do it. And think about, this is politics. Think about what your opponents don't want you to do, and then do that. Do the thing they don't want you to do. It's a pretty good rule of thumb. It will rarely fail you, and I don't think it'll fail you here.
Well, Matt Walsh, congratulations again. I think congratulations to Daily Wire. We obviously been pushing on this issue for an awful long time. And again, I know you don't like birthdays because you're not responsible for your own birth, but take the win, take the birthday gift. Happy birthday. And again, congratulations, Matt.
Thanks, Ben. Appreciate it.
If you'd like to see what else I have to say, you can access my full show by going to dailywire.com or by going to the Matt Walsh Show Twitter page. Hope to see you there. Godspeed.